Good morning, and I want to welcome everyone to our podcast this morning. I am so absolutely overjoyed and delighted because today our special guest is Gayan Gregory Long, and he is an internationally acclaimed drummer, composer. He leads the Dances of Universal Peace. He's a retreat leader, a kirtan leader, and it's just, he can provide a depth of storytelling and spiritual mentoring that I know has just moved people for many, many years. Gayan has led the Dances of Universal Peace around the world, from India to Russia to Thailand and South America and throughout the United States. And I know especially his work in Russia inspired the creation of Drums for Peace. And this is a festival that attracts thousands of people each year to it. He's appeared on 69 recording projects and has released two albums of his own original compositions. And those were entitled Padma Thunder, and When Two or More Are Gathered. And I'm just so overjoyed because Gayan has dedicated his entire life to awakening human potential through music, through devotional practices, and through really bringing about and kindling enthusiasm and community celebration through spiritual teachings. And right now, he's in the process of writing a book entitled Thunderbolts. What an awesome title! Thunderbolts. Flashes of Insight from the Road Home. And he's scheduled to release that later this year in 2025. So, Gayan, welcome to our podcast this morning. What a joy it is to have you.
Thank you, Zemirah. What a delight it is to be with you and our virtual community here in the podcast.
Yes, it really is. And Gayan also, we have a little personal connection that has gone back, once upon a time. I had the opportunity to sing back up in some of his kirtan leadings. And he's just, Gayan, you bring such a depth of spiritual knowledge and skillful practice to the way that you teach and lead your in throughout your music and spiritual teaching. So thank you for being with us today.
Mm.
And at first, I would love it if you could share a little bit about your spiritual journey and how music was really a doorway on the path for you.
Well, what a delightful query there, Zemirah, because my experience really from that early age of 8 years old, when those two paths converged, and now in the present, is that music is spirituality in waveforms. And spirituality is music in action. So, how it came to be on a conscious level was when I was 8 years old. I was very moved by a story that I heard in Sunday school, and I started praying with great depth and earnest for proof that God existed. Like my 8 year old mind wanted to have some way of knowing that God does exist, and then when it happened, it was like a psychedelic experience. Time slowed down and things started pulling on each other, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I realized that beyond all doubt, that God existed,
Mm.
and that was spectacular and very vivid, and is still poignant in my lived experience now. Meanwhile, my family had moved to Minnesota, and one of my new friends was a drummer. And I had
Mm.
never drummed. I was more interested in dancing and flamenco and things of that nature and sports and what have you. And
Mm.
so he drummed, and we would get together with a set of drumsticks and a fashion drum kit and play along with Beatles records and the Electric
Oh.
Prunes. And it just it was that's when I really experienced timelessness, or
Mm.
what the Greeks call kairos time, the magical time, the timeless time. And so from a very early age, those two just like in that moment when time was stretching, when I was realizing, oh my gosh, God exists in the, there's so much more going on. And music, it was the same quality of experience. And then the
Mm.
path of the union of those two took a bit of a circuitous journey that really
Mhm.
came together probably in my early 20s.
Oh, that's lovely. And you have led both the dances of the Universal Peace and also Kirtan, both of which sometime incorporate sacred chant, sacred song. How did that begin within your life? How did you get connected with chanting and
Mm. I
yeah.
was a member of a Latin African drum band. This is fast forwarding now to I was 31 years old, and I was a member of a Latin African drum band. This is a great band, and we played community events and Fourth of July gatherings, weddings, and this band was doing quite well. And we were playing at a wedding, and I was visiting with the flute player from the wedding. We had never met. She played during the ceremony, and we
Oh.
played for the reception. And as musicians, as you know, being a musician, are prone to do, we gravitate towards each other when there's a moment.
Yeah,
And so we
right.
were chatting it up, and uh, she too had this connection playing flutes and such. She was really feeling the first American spirit through the flute as well. And
Mhm.
so we just had this amazing connection. And that was it. We never saw each other again
Oh.
until many years later. We saw each other one other time. But fast forward, I get the call from our friend Timothy Dobson, who led the Dances of Universal Peace, leads the Dances of Universal Peace in Colorado. And he calls
Mhm.
me up and says, well, um, have you heard of the Dances of Universal Peace? And I said, well, that's a peculiar name. What is that? And he explained to me that there's songs and dances from wisdom traditions all around the world with mantric languages, typically, sometimes in English, sometimes partner dances, sometimes not,
Mhm.
and that we dance in a circle. And would I be at all interested in coming as a guest to have this experience and then drum for a chant or two and see what that was like?
Yeah.
So I was like, sure, that sounds fantastic. And he knew that I already had a Lakota background and a Buddhist background. So when being very astute as Timothy is, when it was my turn to drum for a dance, he had picked a Tara dance from the Buddhist
Mm.
tradition.
Mhm.
So I'm playing this dance while people are singing, and I'm sitting on the floor. I'm just playing a single doumbek, a Middle Eastern drum. And I'm having this completely different kind of experience with music than I had had because of the intentionality of the spiritual
Mhm.
practice and playing the mantra. Mantra is a sound formula. And so we're chanting, this was in Sanskrit. And I'm feeling this. I'm going, oh my gosh, I'm not playing to a lyric. I'm not
Mm.
playing for performance or free form dance or entertainment. I'm playing for a spiritual practice and for a mantra. So I'm getting very deep inside this mantra. And then we do the entire dance. And as you know, at the end of these dances, there's silence. And that's an opportunity for the body and the spirit to metabolize the experience in the atmosphere of what's been cultivated. And I'm
Mm.
sitting in that silence and my eyes are closed. And then I open and I look around and I see everyone is in this deep state of reverie. And I said in silence to myself, oh, this is what music is for.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's how I got into the dances, and from there it was an accelerando of playing um, 3 dances a week,
Mhm.
playing at dance camps. Then the travel started coming because of the dances and the music, and then later the kirtan came. But that was my entree into devotional music.
Beautiful. So you spoke a little bit about this, the deep spiritual experience that people can get from chanting mantra. And can you talk a little bit about how you bring people into that mantra and how people might begin to explore the use of mantra in their life if they were, wanting that deeper experience? How has that evolved since that moment,
Mm,
that you entered it?
mm.
Mm,
Well, I'm getting shivers from this question. It's so evocative. Thank you. Um, Mantra comes from sounds of nature in the cosmos. So the language that we're using, I mean, we're using other nonverbal languages as we're communicating, you and I right now. But English is a beautiful and symbolic language. It's like
mm,
when we talk about a tree, we get this visual representation, but it's not exactly the energy of the tree.
mhm, mhm,
Um, but it's a symbol, it's a symbolic language. Really
mhm,
beautiful. It's great for poetry. It's great for some love songs, all kinds of transactions, things of that nature. But Sanskrit, for example, in the Indian tradition of
mhm,
East India,
mhm.
these sound formulas come from nature and from the cosmos. So they actually are what they say they are. They're not symbolic, they're transmissions.
Mm. Wow.
So by reciting them, we're getting the benefit of this very ancient and cosmic sound formula.
Mm,
And for most of us in the West, Sanskrit is not a language that we know. So the sounds are taught first. So if we're
mhm,
doing like that, if I use that Tara dance, Om Tare Tu Re So Ha.
mm,
So we say like I'd say like Om Tare, and then someone would say that the community would say that back, and we'd say Tu Tare, they'd say that back, Tu Re, they'd say that, So Ha, right?
mhm,
And
mhm,
then we would do a longer version, and pretty soon you've drilled on that enough that you're not having to think about that so much when you're dancing. Then you learn the melody to the song,
mhm,
and then
mhm,
there's movements,
mhm,
and it's very simple choreographed movements in a circle.
mhm.
And then that's all put together, and there's an attunement. The dance leader will provide an attunement. So, might say something like for this dance. So, through your own direct experience, the invitation is to connect with the energy and the power and the healing of Tara. And
Mm,
there's 21 dances of Tara, and each of these have different qualities of
mm,
healing and medicinal and nurturing and awakening qualities.
mm,
So we're invoking that as we sing and we dance. Soha means it is so, or and so it is in our language. Um,
mm,
yeah,
mhm. And so it
from
is.
Centers of Spiritual Living, right?
Right? Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then so that's the affirmation, and then
Mhm,
the dance begins, and then people are having the experience. So that's the way that people find their way in to these simple mantras, and through repetition, that's one of the keys is repeating this over and over. Deeper states happen. We drop into deeper brainwave states and spiritual states. And then at the end with the silence, again, that's a chance for that state to be um, what the Sufis, it's a form of mystical spirituality, say that the mantra is installed in the being. So you become the fragrance of the mantra.
Oh, how beautiful. That is so lovely. The fragrance of the mantra. And I love how you so beautifully described how this sacred practice can move us behind, this intellectual mind. It's almost like from what I feel you describing, we're bypassing that and moving right into maybe perhaps, would you say it is the heart, the essence of the heart? Or how would you describe this embodiment becoming the fragrance
Mm.
of the mantra?
It is very heart centered.
Mhm,
And the mind is incredible. What an incredible tool.
yeah,
And um, as we've learned from heart math, there's a communication path that goes from the heart to the mind and back and forth. And the Tibetans, when they say the word mind,
yeah.
where they point is to the heart.
Mhm,
And that phrase is known as prajna, which is heart wisdom. So the two of those together are happening simultaneously rather than analysis and
mhm,
then trying to locate. the heart within that. We start with the heart, and then there's this amazing intelligence that flowers from that.
Flowers, how beautiful. Also, what comes to mind when I hear you describing this so beautifully is the idea of sound being prescriptive and a medicine, that there's healing that can take place. Have you experienced that in your work with people throughout the years, that sound can really, as we move into these states of being, using mantra or dance or using all of these spiritual practices through music. Have you experienced sound as a almost a medicine, a healing
Mm, mm,
experience?
mm.
Have people shared that? Have you experienced it with people sharing it with you or you yourself?
Very directly, very direct and traceable experience that that mantra plus music equals medicine.
Mm. Yeah.
And the again, our East Indian friends, our Hindu and Bhakti friends talk about Saraswati, and she is the the quality of music. Now, isn't this interesting, Zemirah? It's music, poetry, dance, medicine, knowledge, all in that same quality that's related to music. And so it can be very prescriptive. That's a beautiful thing. It can be non-prescriptive, like you're just doing a practice and all of a sudden these miracles are happening, and you could trace it directly to the practice, or you could say by being in this atmosphere,
Mm,
miracles beyond imagination have happened. And suddenly I am at peace. I'm connected to this natural state that I was always in, but now I'm actually abiding in it. It's not a theory, it's not a concept. And
mm,
then others, like people that I work with directly, I'll prescribe certain mantras, sometimes with melody, for certain things that they're going through in
mm,
their lives, conditions and causes. So if we go to Arabic for just a moment, that's
mhm,
a that's again a mantric language, an ancient language that has potency and meaning beyond definition. If someone is struggling with forgiveness,
mm.
anybody ever struggled with forgiveness?
I have.
Moi,
I've
yes.
personally struggled with forgiveness.
Yes.
Still working it from time to
Yes,
time. Yeah,
it's a work in progress, which is so
always.
beautiful, because
Yeah.
then we have those aha moments where, we were hanging on to some sort of fixation on something, and then there's a release, and it's like, wow,
Mm,
beautiful sigh.
mhm,
So, in Arabic, uh, there's a certain group of words called wazifa,
mhm.
and there are 99 beautiful names. There's more, but that's generally the number that's used, 99. And there are more words for forgiveness than any other. Uh,
Wow.
yeah. So if you're chanting Ya Ghaffar, Ya means oh. It's like this endearing quality. It's like, oh, Zemirah, so lovely to be with you
Yeah.
again. Oh, um, and then Ghaffar is a kind of forgiveness that's very pervasive.
Mm, mhm,
So
mhm.
that's a great one if you're just generally feeling a lack of gratitude, or some sort of non-specific kind of angst about having not let go in forgiveness. Then Ya Gafur, slightly different sound, is a penetrating forgiveness that goes specifically and directly into whatever perceived wrong has happened.
Mm,
And the
mm.
beautiful thing about this, it doesn't require the other person to do the practice. You do this on your own. And so
Beautiful.
that's very, again, it's very direct and penetrating and specific.
Yes.
Yagafar, Yagafur. Yatawab then is
Mhm,
the turning away.
mhm,
If someone's been like in an extreme condition, if they've been in an abusive relationship,
mhm,
Yatawab is a beautiful practice, and that's done simply like this: Yatawab, 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 over and over. Or you can add a melody: Yatawab, Yatawab. I'm just making this melody up as I go, right?
mhm,
And
mhm.
that is the turning away from the ailment so that we don't continue to harm ourselves and be harmed. Yeah,
Oh,
go
that's
far.
incredibly beautiful. So if I wanted to practice this as, like, say I have something I'm focused on with forgiveness, a situation with a
Mm.
person, family member, something. If I wanted to practice this, what would be the way that which, is there a number of times, or how do you work with that?
So uh, it's a great practice too because it ultimately means letting go as well.
Mm,
But letting go by connecting with, not by spiritual bypassing and imagining that something didn't happen. We're
right.
acknowledging in the relative reality
Hmm.
something happened. I felt hurt by that. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now I want to let go and turn away from that.
Hmm.
So you could practice that 99 times,
Okay.
101 times. In Arabic, it's generally 99 or 101. In Sanskrit, it's 108. And there's
Hmm.
esoteric reasons for those numbers.
Hmm.
But the great thing about the Sufis, which is this very accommodating path, they might say, practice this 99 times, 101 times, or as many or as few times as you wish.
Ah, till you
Yeah.
feel it, maybe.
You
I'm
definitely,
supposed to
you can
feel
feel it.
in. Yeah.
Yes. Right.
Uh-huh.
And so, like, if you, I, or someone has a specific condition that they want to work with, you just
Hmm.
touch in on that for just a moment.
Hmm.
Say,
Hmm.
wow,
Hmm.
okay, in that real estate transaction, that really didn't, I'm using a specific
Yeah.
example from my life, that real estate transaction did not go well. I was not treated fairly. And
Mhm.
I'm not a victim, I have agency, but that actually did happen. That had some
Yeah.
negative, yes,
Yeah.
impacts. But I'm not going to identify with the wound. I'm going to contact it, but not identify with it. So then I might just contact that feeling tone and say, Yagafar, Yagafur, Yatawab, Yagafar, Yagafur, Yatawab, and do that a number of times.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Then, when I feel like there is the potential for some genuine release, I could go to Ya'afu. And
Mm.
Afu is the letting go that is so thorough that the image is like the desert sand. Like you've walked in the desert at night to find your campsite, and you go
Yeah.
into your campsite and you come out from your tent the next morning, and it's as if the footprints never happened.
Oh, how beautiful. It's almost like you're wiping the slate clean and starting again, begin again, right?
Begin again, washing yourself of yourself. These are poetic images, from the tradition. But yeah,
Yeah.
and then Ya Fatah,
Mhm.
Fatah means ever open. So at
Beautiful.
that point, you're like, okay, I'm ready for what's happening now, what's alive. Ya Fatah. So that whole
Ah,
process
open
could
to
be
new.
Ya Fatah,
Yeah.
Ya Gafar, Ya Gafur, Ya Tawab, Ya Afu, Ya Fatah.
Oh, how beautiful.
And you can
It's a
do each of
complete
those.
sentence
It
of
is. That's right.
healing,
That's right.
which is so beautiful. Yeah.
That's right. You can use so to use that analogy, you can use different words within that sentence over and over if you
Mhm.
want to concentrate on a particular quality or the
Yeah.
whole sentence.
Oh, how beautiful. I too have studied in the Sufi tradition, and once I had a suggestion from a teacher that I do self-forgiveness. And I believe that there was another, even yet, was it astaghfirullah? Or what, could you speak to the meaning of that as well? Because that even had another resonance around this topic of forgiveness that I was focused on self to self,
Self-forgiveness.
Yes. What's the nuance of that? And
Mm-hmm.
another one.
Yet another one, and it's a level of refinement so beautiful that astaghfirullah is it's like one very advanced definition of astaghfirullah would be forgive me for the idea, the concept that I conjured up in some fashion that for even a moment I was separate from the divine
Ah,
reality,
oh,
from
how
God.
beautiful. Wow.
And so
Yeah.
that's so perfect for self-forgiveness, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah,
Mm,
because this other practice is more things that have you can use it in any creative application, but
mhm,
conditions that have happened that have involved others. And then astaghfirullah can also be used
mm,
like if I was running 15 minutes late, which I wasn't, thank goodness. But for our interview, and I knew that you had a Sufi background, I could say Astaghfirullah, Zamira. I ran
Oh.
into traffic. Please forgive me. Yeah.
So it really is about bringing your own consciousness back into that oneness with the divine, is what I hear you saying. Kind of like, oh, I've gone off my path, and now I do understand stand a little bit more of my own um, prescriptive mantra practice that my guide was suggesting at that time. So thank you for that. I love the nuances, and you've shown it so beautifully, Guyan. The depth of the practice that it really can be so. Almost multi-dimensional in its nature in what you've just described and how you're moving through, not around your relationship with both what's happened and with the divine. I think that's so gorgeous. Within your own awareness, within your own devotional practice. Um,
Within one's own awareness, which is so vast.
right.
It's like an infinite ocean, actually.
Yeah.
And we're having this relative experience in these earth suits, which is incredible and beautiful. And then at moments where we can um, uh, expand out into the greater thing that's happening, it's always happening, right? But with our awareness, we're connected to that. And it's very multidimensional, extremely. It transcends the local physical experience to the non-local, and it
Mhm,
transcends and includes the current time
mhm,
as well as all past and all future.
mhm,
So in that sense, when we when one really connects with this, the potency of this and their own agency within it, it really is limitless
mhm.
in terms of its scope and reach.
That is really beautifully stated. And I'm wondering too, for those who are joining us in this podcast, what if you are just getting started and you want to begin to practice and I know I've had several other conversations with folks that have said, well, I'm not a singer. I'm not a musician. But I really want music as part of my spiritual practice. How can we begin if that does tend to be getting in the way of wanting to experience this vastness
Hmm.
through music and through spiritual practice related to music?
Well, you also, being a sound healer, have the direct experience with yourself and others when you pull out your bowls.
Mhm,
What happens in terms of the atmosphere and people dropping in and go, oh my goodness, what
mhm,
is happening? So it doesn't actually matter so much what we think
mhm. Yeah.
about whether we are a musician, a singer, or not, because we are music.
Mm,
Music is vibration. The
mhm,
body is all these different vibrations happening. And so rhythm is melody slowed down. If you
mm,
take a rhythm that is, like a heartbeat,
mhm, mhm,
like that kind of thing, okay?
mhm,
Maybe for some people at a resting pulse, if they've got a really good resting or really strong resting pulse, they're around 38 or 45 beats, per minute.
mhm, mhm.
If you speed that up and start getting faster and faster so that it's actually 20 beats per second,
Oh.
that's a note.
Ah, wow.
Yeah, not 20 beats per second. Sorry, it'd be 20 20 hertz. Yeah. I can't remember the exact frequency, but at a certain point it becomes audible
Ah,
as a melody, as a low
yes.
note,
Uh-huh.
very low. I can't sing that low. But then
Right.
then you speed that up and the notes get higher and higher.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
So when we open our mouths and say ah, like
Ah,
doctors were offering this healing right on the spot if we just would have stopped there and said
ah, ah.
ah. Okay, now you can
Yeah.
check my tongue, but first let me sing ah. you know?
Yes.
Yes, and
Yeah.
that is the sound of the heart. Ah is the sound of the heart.
Ah, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Ah.
So it's actually that simple. Is you could
Mm.
say um, to someone who has the conversation, the unfortunate and confused conversation that they're not musical because they are music, right? We talked about all these rhythms that are happening. Just open your mouth and say ah. You don't have to.
Ah.
You can just say ah, ah, and then as you
Ah.
raise the sound, then it starts to sound like melody,
Yeah, beautiful. So would
and
you
then
start there
you
with
just start right
ah
there. Yep.
as a practice, like connecting? Would you have an intention behind it, or you just start with ah, being present
Well.
in the moment, or how would you start?
It's so beautiful
Ah,
because if you have an intention, um, that will um, seed your practice,
uh-huh.
and then something, not only the intention, but something else will happen. And
Yes.
if you don't have an intention, something else will happen. And then what might come to you is an intention for, oh, I want to do this more.
Ah,
So
yeah.
the two are happening simultaneously, the
Mm-hmm.
intention and the miracle, and then the
Mm-hmm.
miracle and the intention kind of rise from that. Either one is fine.
That's beautiful. I love it. It's almost like an invitation to hold it lightly, is what I hear you saying. Just hold
Hmm.
the practice lightly and show up for it and allow it to maybe emerge through you. Yeah, and then maybe after ah, the sound of the heart, maybe you then move to mantra or you move to, maybe you listen to it. What would you recommend that you listen to maybe others? Providing, because we have the internet, right? We have everything
Hmm.
imaginable that we can
Hmm.
find on YouTube or Insight Time or recordings of whatnot. Um, I guess guiding when it is that vast of an ocean of choice that we have these
Hmm.
days. Where do I start? How do I begin with something very simple and precious, but that it helps me connect more with myself?
Yeah,
Uh,
it's like which river do I want to put my boat in right now in terms of the
exactly.
mantra? And a beautiful one is Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om
Mm.
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
Oh,
Now,
beautiful.
any of us that have heard of Mahatma Gandhi
Uh-huh.
have been a beneficiary of his practice of that mantra. That
Mm.
was he would walk across India reciting that mantra, and when he would be um, have an encounter with an adversary, he'd be chanting Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. So
Mm.
Om, well, first of all, these have meaning beyond definition. So I'm going to translate it, but
Mm.
the translation actually comes from the transmission of reciting it. That's where the real
Transmission.
definition comes. It defines ourselves in, as, and through us. But Om, the all-pervading reality, and broken down, there's three sounds in there: the ah, om, and that is actually also the synchronization of body, speech, and mind. So everything working together, what? In consort. It's all music. You can use music to describe all this. The heart, and so body, mind being heart, right? Body, speech, and mind, all synchronized.
Mhm.
Om Shri is a veneration. It's like,
Mhm.
you know, thank you. You've been around for
Beautiful.
thousands and thousands of years. I'm
Yeah.
glad you're here.
Yeah.
Ram is this quality of enlightened leadership and strength.
Mm.
So the historical figure Ram was a great leader and servant, a servant leader basically, but with lots of strength. So Om Shri Ram, it's moving forward with strength, but in service, like what's wanting to happen? What's the wisest path? Shri Ram J, victory. Ram, J J, lots of victory. Ram.
Yeah, beautiful. Oh, I love that so very much. And I love how you explain the transmission beyond the sound. I mean, that you're receiving, even if you're not knowing what it means. I love that you explained that so lovely. Um, Yes, that we can receive it. I remember, my daughters used to go to Kirtan. They would listen to you, Gayan, when they were
Hmm.
just little. And they said, Mom, I don't understand what everyone is singing. It sounds like chicken soup to me. But they would be so relaxed that they even fell asleep in the midst of the amazing rhythms you were playing that night,
Yeah.
on the floor with everyone dancing around them because the transmission was so powerful. It was beyond knowing even what we were singing. They were feeling what was being created, the atmosphere you talked about that was being experienced. So it's very powerful what you're able to do, Gayan, and how you guide people so um, gently and powerfully beyond to the beyond, really. So,
Well, thank you.
yeah.
For me, it's got to be worth it. Our time and attention is really valuable.
Mm,
And
mhm,
if people are willing to say, okay, I'm gonna lend my strength and attention to what you're offering right now,
mhm,
uh, that's a there's a responsibility in that and a
mm,
privilege. And so
yeah.
I want it to be really worth it. So what does that mean? Um, Using these traditional sound formulas
Mhm,
that have a track record of people waking up and having miraculous experience,
mhm,
applying rhythms on the drum and in other ways that have a track record of inviting people into entrainment
uh-huh.
so that their hearts are in tune with others and with the infinite, even if it's just chicken soup for the soul. Like
That's
you're,
right.
that
That's so
amazing
great.
analogy
Yeah.
that they use. It's like chicken soup. Excellent, chicken
Chicken
soup for the
soup.
soul. Yeah. Um,
That's so fabulous.
yeah.
Yes. Well, I am so very delighted and excited because you're going to be playing at Mile High Church with the Bhakti Shakti band, and it is July 18th. So it's just a week at the time of this recording. It is just a week and a half from now, and so I just wanted to offer that very personal invitation to those who are listening if they are in town to definitely come to Mile High on July 18th from 7 to 9 p.m. in the Vote Auditorium because they'll get to experience that depth of what you have so delightfully, this journey that you have expressed for us and described so beautifully for us this morning. So, thank you so much for this. And I wonder if there's anything, last little thing that you want to leave for folks as we begin to close our time together. What a parting invitation or a parting practice, anything at all.
Thank you. Thank you. This has definitely been another one of those timeless, magical times. So that feels fantastic to this creature right here, and hopefully to those listening. So we haven't spoken about kirtan,
Oh,
and
that's
the
right.
and the
Yes, a
word and
little.
the word kirtan means offering to God or of God or with God.
Mhm.
So kirtan for me has been the natural evolution from the dances of universal peace
Mm.
because there's no choreography, which is beautiful, but that
Yes.
means you can move, not move, dance, not dance in any way that you want to. And so our kirtans at Mile High are so spectacular for a number of reasons. One is the Mile High community and people that are apt to be attracted to it. So a good reason for people to come to that is because it is in alignment with who and what they are anyway and what they're expressing. It's just expressing it with music and mantra. Well, you have music too, of course, amazing music there. Um, so that's a great reason to come. Another reason to come is especially if it's new, why not be curious about an experience? Because you can always say, this resonates for me and I want to do it more, or this doesn't resonate for me. But so many people that that come for the first time will come up afterwards and go, this is so amazing. I'm just vibrating. I don't know why I haven't been doing this for years.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I've experienced that. I experienced it myself the first time. I mean, it literally was like all my cells were on fire.
Mm,
And with hearing Sanskrit, like for the first time chanted in that way, just was like this nectar. experience of, oh my goodness, I want to drink of that flower. I want
Mm,
to bloom in that way. Please
wow.
show me how. And just wanting, finding my soul was hungry to
Mm,
experience ways to express that were completely new and just very accepting. Like you said, I could dance or I could not dance. I could sit or I could be in silence. Um, in the midst of non-silence. So there's a depth, I think, of silence that comes in my very own being as a result of just being in these vibrations that you're creating in those spaces. And I find that to be something that every single time I walk away with something, feeling a little more depth, feeling a little more present, and also moving beyond, like you were saying, my situational story of my life, leaving that beyond. There's been times I've come to Kirtan and thought, there is no way I can shift this energy that I'm experiencing today. I've done it up, I've experienced it, I'm stuck in it, I want to feel it, I'm attached to it. And by the end of Kirtan, just realizing, wow, that is so powerful. It has once again even moved that. So
mm.
and what a gift. What a
Wha-
gift, Gayan, that you bring in your music personally, but also collectively. What a gift in your collaboration with these other brilliant musicians. The synergy is a gift as well. So thank you
It
for
is. Yeah,
thank
thank you. I think for me in closing that, I mean, you said that so beautifully. I'm glad this is recorded so I can listen back to what you just shared
me
sometime.
too.
Um, the musicians who are part of Bhakti Shakti Kirtan are professional musicians,
Mhm.
but it's not a performance.
Right.
It's this is like a culmination of why we do music is
Mhm.
so that I mean, people can certainly applaud if they want to, but mostly that's not what it's about. The it's as a musician, you go, oh my goodness, this is what I've put in all this work for, is to have this effortless practice with the community and watch people light up and spark and deep and drop, and maybe there's tears and there's laughter. And in the end, it's like J.S. Bach would put at the bottom of the music that he wrote, Sole Deo Gloria, the glory to God alone. And so
Mm.
these are my colleagues and dear friends in music. We've all devoted ourselves to the glory of something much larger than ourselves because it's so much more fun and satisfying.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, so Gayan, what a blessing to
Mm,
have this time with you and to be on this journey through these beautiful vibrations, this interfaith journey, really, this morning in all of your vast knowledge and experience. I do hope if anyone is able and is listening that you'll join us on July 18th and just experience some of this exquisite devotion through music in person
mm.
if you're able. So thank you, and I will see you there for sure.
Thank you, Zemirah. So lovely to be with you in this way. And thanks for organizing these kirtans at Mile High. It's a great community service.
Oh,
Yeah.
my pleasure. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay.